RStudio will start up R. I think you first do is go up to File, start up a new, and you go over here, File, New File, and go over to, whoops, RScript. Okay, this gives me a little window. It's a programming editor basically. And what was the data set that I did on the first class? Do you remember? What was it called?
Monthly or?
Huh? Morley.
More.
The speed of light data, right?
Yes.
So, okay, so that's already loaded into R. So all I have to do is type Morley. Whoops. I think I have to type Morley. I can go over here. This is the data editor. This is the program.
You're on the wrong keyboard.
Oh, you're right. Thanks. Here's Morley. I typed in Morley, and I'm going to enter that. Ooh, yep, wrong key. When I go over here in this thing, I have to run it. Okay, so I type Morley, have my little cursor there, and I go run that little script, and then it will show me what the Morley data looks like. Okay. Sometimes, the reason I asked you to put RScript on, it's easier to correct what it is that you're typing. If you make mistakes, it's easier to do it. Here's the R output, and you can see I can go directly to R. If I just run R without RScript, the thing you don't have is, I type in Morley here.
Wrong keyboard.
Yeah, wrong keyboard again. God darn it, I'm so used to it. Type that correctly. Close this thing up. Whoops. I didn't want that thing. Now the RScript. Whoa, where did it go? Well, we go back. Where did everything go? What did I do?
You minimized it.
Huh?
You minimized it. You back there.
Well, then I blew it back up again.
No, in the down corner by the windows.
Oh, there it is. Is it?
Yes, restore. There we go.
Here's
It
R.
says M or L-E-Y.
Oh, do I have to do this one or do I do this?
That one.
There we
Okay.
go. M-O, what do I have here? I don't have my glasses.
Morely.
M-O-R-E-L-Y. Is that it? Let's see.
No, you've got to go back.
Oh, L-U-Y.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Get this thing out of the way. Keep pulling it out. I guess my home. I'm so used to typing on this stuff at home. Where's backspace here? See, this is why it's easier to do it in the data editor. Now, so there it is. There's the Morley data. Okay. But if you go over to R, oh boy, there it is. Why can't I? Oh, that's that one. There's this one. It's the same thing. Here's the same window except it's smaller. Okay. So there it is. So I type it up. What I do is I do things up here in the script editor, and then I just run it. Okay. So I get Morley. What was the first thing I did with the Morley data on the homework? I said, okay.
Average.
So I wanted, okay, I can go summary. Summary, Morley. Oh, I don't want Morley. I want Morley. Now Morley has three variables, so I can go $, and I want speed. So I type that in there, and I go, okay, I'll run that, and so there, so it gives me a summary. So it tells me what the minimum is, the first quartile, the median, the mean, the third quartile, the max, okay? If I want to know what the range of the data is, I just go range. Oh boy, yeah, I can go range, Morley, speed.
Spelled.
I can't even see. It's hard to do anything right when you can't see. Okay, run. Error, what did I do?
You forgot the $sign.
Oh, you're right. See, this is why it's easier to do that. If I do everything down on the console, then it's harder to correct. So I do that.
Run.
Yep, I have to put the run. I spent half my time What did I do?
Oh,
I didn't do correct.
you highlighted D, so it,
Oh wow, this is the key.
so
There it is. So it goes 620 to 1070. Now if I want to get the mean of something, I just type in mean, right? I can go mean. I can go mean. Oh boy, wrong keyboard again. Boy, my habits are really tough to break. Mean of Morley, if I spelled that wrong. Dollar speed or dollar speed.
run.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
I can't even tell. Can't even see.
Oh, but the thing's highlighted.
No, he's
Does it not matter?
There it is.
Okay.
Okay, I get the mean that way. What else do I want to get? I want to get a median. I keep trying to do that. I can go median. Morley, dollar speed. Oops. Run that. Oops. I did something wrong. What did I do?
You missed the E in speed.
Oh, you're right. I did that. Wait, can't I do?
run.
Run. Okay, we're gonna run that. Go median speed. What else did I ask you to compute? I can do that. Now here's something you can do. Here's a simple thing. Instead of going Morley dollar speed, the only thing I can do is I can go attach. Here's a quick tip. I can go attach Morley. Now what does attach Morley do? Okay, so I attach Morley, and I gotta run it. I gotta attach Morley, and I go up here and run it. Error and attach. Oh, because I spelled Morley.
Yeah.
Okay, there I go. No. My glasses today. So I attach Morley. Okay. Now what happens is all those variables, I don't have to type Morley anymore. Okay. If I attach Morley, I don't have to do it. And then, what were the names of the variables in Morley before? Anyone remember? There were experiment, run, and speed. So now I can just go, if I attach it, now I can just go, get away from there. I can go mean.
Speed. And then run.
And then run. Okay, and that'll do it that
That's
way.
cool.
And now I can go, what did I do before? I can go, okay, I want a histogram. I can go, how do I do this? Histogram? No, I want a, I can go hist
Speed.
I can go his speed. Now here's the, his speed. I can run that, okay. And there it gives me the little graphic over here. And the thing you want to do is for homework and stuff like that, you can zoom on it, it gives you that, right? And then what I can do is I can right click, copy the image, and you have Word on your thing? You have Word on your
Yeah,
computer here?
it's up at the very top.
And go up here, Word 2016. Give me a
Blank document.
Whenever you're typing in a graphic, it's the first thing. Give yourself some space on top. And paste. And there it is. Okay. 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 Cut. Close that thing. Go save. Get rid of that. I can close that zoom window. Do that. Now, if I'm getting a side-by-side histogram is difficult in R. Okay? Well, it's not difficult. Nothing's really difficult. You just have to know how to do it. Getting a side, there are a couple of ways to do it. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. There are probably about 10 or a dozen different ways to do it in R. But the thing you do want to do is, so I want to get histograms that are comparable, the thing you have to watch out for is, okay, so the thing I want to do is I'm going to do something, library. I'm going to go, whoops, I say, I got to get used to doing this. I only use, when I'm doing stuff myself, I usually just open up R and I don't use this, but when I write long programs is when I use RStudio. But it's easier for you guys just to learn how to do it this way. So when I get up here, I go library.
Wrong keyboard.
Okay, I'm on the wrong keyboard again. Jeez, habits are hard to break. Oh, golly, what did I do? Okay, so I'm up here, library. I want library lattice. This gives me a whole, library lattice gives me a whole bunch of different functions, okay? Then what? It loads more stuff into memory that I can use. Now I use a thing called histogram. Histogram, yep. And now I go squiggle speed, and what
Where
do
the
I
hell's
get?
my squiggle?
I have a tilde there, don't I?
Yeah.
And so
Could not
it's,
find function.
oh, did I spell it wrong?
Well, do you need just hist instead of histogram?
Oh, what did it say?
Don't
I
think
could
you
not
ran the
find.
library. You didn't run the library before.
Could not find function histogram.
Why can't it find that one?
You didn't run the library lattice.
Oh, I
Did you
didn't.
say enter? You didn't hit control enter, so
Oh.
you didn't
There
run
you
it.
go.
I didn't run it before.
No, you did.
There you
There
go.
it is. That actually gives you a prettier one, right? Now the thing I want to do is I want to get a histogram by experiment, right? So for each experiment I want a different histogram, right? So I want to see if they're comparable. So the thing I do now is I go histogram, speed, slash, what was it, experiment. So I want it by experiment, and I'll run that. What does it give me? Whoa. So it gives me that. Okay. Now the nice thing about using this library is that all the histograms have the same scale, right? They're all on the same scale. So we can look at them, and does it look like the speed of light in each experiment has the same distribution? They're all, each experiment's a little bit different. I mean, the distribution of values is just a little bit different. Okay. So, that's sort of a nice way to compare things. There's other ways of doing it, but this is the easiest way, is to use the library lattice, because the library lattice all scales things automatically for you. So when you look at the graphs, they're all on the same scale, which is important. When you compare histograms, I've seen reports where you get people will put histograms together, they're comparing things, and they look at it this way, and they say they run 2 experiments, and they'll look at it and they go, okay, here's one histogram. And so this will, and they say, okay, they look at that, and then I look at another histogram.
I'm doing this screen recording.
And you look at it that way, and you go, okay, are these the same or not? And what this one will be is on a scale of 0, it'll go up to 0 to, say, 0.5, and this one goes from 0 to 0.7. Okay? So if I look at these 2 graphs, you can say, well, the shapes are somewhat, I mean, they're a little different, but they're somewhat somewhat symmetric, possibly. But this one only goes 0 to 0.5, this one goes 0 to 0.7, and you go, well, is this comparable to that? No. So the thing you always want is you want things that are comparable so you can compare them, right? You can't compare two things that are on different scales. One's going to look bigger than the other, right? If I take a photo of a person up close, I get one picture of them, right? And if I take a photo farther away and take a photo of them, then they look a lot smaller, right? So it's the same thing. You want to get everything in the same scale. Alrighty. So this command will put everything in the same scale when you compare things. Box plot runs a little bit differently. If I want to do a box plot, I can go box plot of I can go box plot of where do I want to go? Of speed. I hope I can spell that correctly. I can't do it. There it is. There's the box plot of speed. Okay. But again, if I want to copy it to a document, I zoom in on it, then right click and copy it to wherever I want to go. Copy and paste. Okay, so that's box plot. If I want to get a box plot command's easier to use. If you want side-by-side ones, I can go box plot, speed, by capital speed. What's the other one? EXPT. I can go box plot by EXPT. Run that. And that gives me a comparative box plot. Okay.
So what's the difference between using like up under the histogram you had a line between speed and experiment, and now you have a tilde up between. What's the difference?
Well, they're different commands. They're different libraries. I told you the histogram's a tougher one to use. So the histogram command is under the library lattice. The box plot command is under just the general library. Okay?
So does using the line go under the lattice and using the tilde go under the general then?
Well,
how do we know which one to use?
Well, that's what I'm showing.
Okay.
I'm saying when you want to do side-by-side histograms, I can do side-by-side histograms using just the general library without calling lattice, except it's a lot more difficult. Okay. And so that's why, but for box plots it makes it easy because most statisticians will just sit there and we don't look at histograms too often, what we'll do is look at box plots. Okay, they're just a little bit more informative. All right. So that's why the box plot thing is there. That's why the box plot thing is simpler. The histogram, you use the lattice library because the thing if I use the hist command, I can do it several times, but then it doesn't automatically adjust the scales for me correctly. So then I have to go back and start playing around with other options on the hist command, and that's basically it. I didn't say R is easy to use, but when you're doing stuff like this, it's easy to use when we start doing things like this. You can go mean, median, and like that, and that's for the range, then it's easy to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you start doing graphics and things, it gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to use it a lot when we start doing other stuff, and boy, time goes quickly, and stuff like that. So you can do stuff like that. Now, another thing I can do is say I want to get the mean by experiment. Okay. So if I want to get the mean of speed by experiment, I keep looking for that thing. By speed. That's the one I want. And then I'm going to go EXPT by experiment. Mean. I hope this one works. If we do that, see what happens here. There we go.
Nice.
So now I can get the mean by experiment. Okay? So it gives me experiment 1, 2, 3, 4. Does it go down any further? Let's see. I think there were more than 5 experiments, weren't there? So let's see what happens here.
Low.
Were there only 5? I thought there were more than 5.
I think each
There were 5.
Oh, there were 5. There's 5
Yeah.
experiments. Okay.
each
There we
one
go.
has
So now I can get
10
the
or
mean
20.
by experiment. Okay? Also, I could get the median by experiment, right? What would I do if I wanted to get the median by experiment? I just go by. So the by command just says, okay, I want speed by experiment, and I want to calculate the mean, right? That's the function. So if I wanted to get the median, I'd go by. I want the variable speed by experiment, and then what would I type in here? Instead of mean, I put in
Median.
median, right? If I wanted the variance, what would I type in?
Variance.
I type in var, V-A-R, right? If I want to get the standard deviation, I'd go by speed, experiment, comma, standard deviation is SD. Okay. So, here you go, I can do this. I'm going to do this, I'm going to get that, copy it. Paste. Oh, we don't want that. So I want mean. So when you want to type repetitive things, you can just copy and paste from one line to the other, so you don't have to be typing everything all over. I can go var. And I can go standard deviation, SD. What else could I possibly type in there? I can go paste, I can get the range. Now I can run all, now I can do is highlight a bunch of things like that, and then run them all. Okay? And then I'm all done. Then I should have a whole bunch of stuff under here. So then I'd go, okay, so this thing here then will give me, let me blow this thing up. Hope I can do it. Okay, there, made it bigger. Blow up that little window. So I just ran that bunch of commands. And so by speed, I get the mean by that. And then I can also go over here. What happened here? And made a type of error. Speed could not find y. Where the heck was y? Oh, I had y. I don't know what I did. I forgot the y. Anyway, by speed median will give me the median by each experiment. By speed variance will give me the variance by each experiment, and I get the standard deviation by each experiment. Okay. Alrighty, there are other ways to do it too. I'm just showing you the easiest ways to do it. Okay. Okay. So now I'm done. And before I load another data set, what would I want to do?
End or save?
Well, I could save it. Before I want to say I loaded another data set that has similar names to the data set that I just brought in, right? So the thing I want to do is if I attached it and I want to not use it anymore, what do you think I should do?
Delete?
If I attach something and I want to get rid of it, then what do?
Remove it?
Detach it. Unattach it, right? So then I go up here, I'll close this window again, just go back up here, give myself a few more lines. They don't have to be consecutive. Detach. What do I want to detach?
Morley.
And run that, and I'm all done. Okay. Now, a lot of times, if I just have short little assignments, I do all my work down here. I'll just do it down here, and it's the same thing, except what happens here, it's harder to correct things if you're down in the R window. Over here, I can go, I can type things just as easily down here. I can go mean, Morley, speller, speed, and things get executed down here. And over here, now you just have to press enter. Whoops. So I did something wrong.
You spelled Morley wrong.
Yeah, again, didn't I? Okay, now what you have to do is hit the up arrow. If I hit the up arrow, it gives it to me back. And then I can go back here and change everything. Back. Morley. It's good to see mistakes because this is how you, and then I can get it that way. Okay. So I sort of flip-flop between the two. Now, if you have a question on something, like how do I use the mean function, right? So I can go question mark mean, okay? Question mark mean will then throw a, whoop, I didn't run that thing. Where's the run and enter? Then it tells you how the mean function works, okay? There are all sorts of defaults. The thing you have to watch out for the mean function is if how do you, oh, we're running, what time is class over, 10:25 or 10:20?
25.
Okay, 5 more minutes. This just tells you the different functions over here, the different options you have under the mean. In general, I'm not going to do two things. The thing you have to be careful of in the mean. Okay, say I want to load some data in. Say I have 5 numbers, and I want to do something with them, right? So I can go, okay. In mathematics, if you have a variable or something, what do you usually call it? What's the first thing you call something?
X.
X, okay, right? X, yeah. So look, X, oh, we'll go up here and do it, okay? So I have some numbers, X. I put an arrow here. This is how you assign things in R. You make an arrow, you can't see it, but you make a little arrow with a less than sign and a dash. And now what I want to do is I want to concatenate 5 numbers. Give me your 5 numbers.
10.
53.
10,
Yeah.
7, 14, 21.
There you go. Thank you. There we go. So now I get that. I get those numbers in there, and I just say, okay, I concatenated all those numbers together, and I threw them into X. Right?
Yep.
Oops. What do I do? Not run, I have to run it, right?
Yep.
You have to run it up there. The bottom one I can do it. So it says, okay, I did that. There's X. Let's type X. Let's type X down here to see what I got. I go X. What is X? Ah, good. It's 53, 10, 7, 14, 21. Okay, that's good. That's what I typed in. That's what I want. Now, if I want the mean of those things, what would I type in?
Mean.
Mean of X, right? Want the variance of that? I go variance of X. So whenever you just get some numbers, that's one way to do it, okay? Or you can type it in. I'll show you another time how you can, if you have more complicated data. Say you have a data set, you have an X variable, a Y variable, and a Z variable. The thing to do is you put it into Excel, type X, Y, Z on the columns, fill in the numbers under X, Y, and Z, okay? And then you export it as a CSV file, and then you can read it into R real quickly, okay? Most of the data I used to get as an applied statistician was people would send me Excel files, so I just converted them to CSV. Now here's the problem with a mean. I have a few minutes left. Let me go back up here, And now I'm gonna add in, if I have a NA, so I have a missing value. A missing value in R is NA, and say I have another number, say 67. I go like that, and now I ask for the mean. Let's see, let me run this thing. Run, and now I want the mean of X. And I run it. It says NA. What happened?
It doesn't.
What happens is it sees this NA in here, and it can't compute a mean, okay? So the thing you have to do is mean, if you have NAs in your data, you're gonna go X, and, so I have the mean command over here, created mean, okay, I wanna go through here, and it's, yeah, so then I wanna have remove NA is equal to true, and then it should compute. Oops. What did I have here? Remove NA. Oh, NA remove, that's why. So I go up here. So I remove NAs, and now I can run it. Remove NA is equal to true, and then it gives me the mean, okay? This is in here to sort of protect you, okay? Because sometimes if you do it in Excel or something, an NA will be in there, but if you go mean, and you want the mean of something and there's an NA in it, so this is nice to have because you don't want to have it doing something where you have a missing value. So you say, okay, it says, oh, okay, I have NAs in my data, so then I'll remove them and then I can get it, okay? So sort of a check.
So can you use that remove for numbers too? Like if you want to take out, if there's
Zeros
some
or
number in
ones.
there that for whatever reason you don't want it to compute when it's finding the mean, can you use that for that too?
Just delete the number.
Yeah, well, you can delete the number.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways of getting around that. I don't want to